Okay, what we have today on today's episode of The Surface of the Sun is some boat wheels. They are hot dipped galvanized boat wheels. They're hot dipped galvanized, kind of a rough coating. So we're going to do these in a color called silver artery is what it's actually called. And it is a textured material that's sort of a two-tone silver and black. And we're going to try to use that, or we are going to use that to help hide the texture of the galvanizing and some of the pitting from the rust. There's not much rust. There's a little on the inside there, but it's not too bad. We're going to get these. I'm going to fire the blaster up. I'll get them blasted and cleaned up. We'll come back and look at them and show you what they look like. And we'll get to coating these things. There's a boat out there that's missing these somewhere. So we're going to make it happen. All right, so we're out of the blaster and in the booth. One thing I want to point out about hot dip galvanized wheels, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's hot dipped. This whole wheel is dipped in galvanizing. So let me show you what I mean. You see the valve stem hole. This is where they hang it. They hang it by here. You notice here where the galvanizing is built up in the corner, and it's also built up on this lip and this lip. It's on both of these lips. Some on the inside, some on the outside, both areas. You got to kind of pay attention to that. What I don't want to happen is I don't want this guy to go put tires on and the tire machine to hit this. I'm going to work on that little high spot right there a little bit more. And this one was actually worse, believe it or not. This one was right here was, it was jagged. I just don't, and on the inside, it's still kind of, you can just see how it is. And if you look, there's the stem hole. There's your extra galvanizing in the seam. There you can see where it ran down here and here, okay? Galvanized wheels, I'm gonna go over a couple things. You have to heat the ever-loving you-know-what out of these babies. They gotta be hot when you spray them. If you do not heat them up and you don't spray them hot, oh man, all this is just dust from me grinding on this. I got dust all in it. But it'll get all blown off, and I gotta tune up some other stuff. I see another little high right there, galvanizing. But I wanna get this tightened up, get them all blown off and get them preheated. They got to go in the oven. I got to put them in the oven for like 15 minutes. They got to be full temp. I might even run the temperature up to, 425 or so in the oven just to get a good preheat on them. I'll lose 25 degrees. Well, we're standing in the booth here now. You can see this is a booth, just give you an idea. And then that's the big oven, and across the way there's the little oven, okay? As long as I turn off my biggest fan there and I run that out of the oven, by the time it gets here, it'll be 400 degrees. It'll lose 25 degrees from there to here. That's just how it is. So that being said, we want to get these things as hot as we can and just put a light coat on them. What we're trying to do is expand any air or anything that's in the galvanizing. And because I'm telling you, galvanizing, hot dip galvanizing is a booger to powder coat over. It wants to blow bubbles in your stuff. And I'm telling you, the easiest way to do it is to heat it up hot. If you look, there's two different colors here. You see how you got a bright silver color and then you got a darker color? What that is the darker color is actually bare metal and the bright color is galvanizing. See here, galvanizing's missing here. Another area right here, galvanizing's missing. You see little worm tracks of galvanizing. That's what the two different colors are that you're seeing. It kind of looks dirty, but it's not. It's just where the galvanizing, any place the galvanizing is loose, the blaster will take it off. Any place, I just about knocked that one off of there. Any place the galvanizing is good, it stays on there. Like the whole inside of the wheel. And really at the end of the day, this is a boat item. We want to leave as much of the galvanizing on there as we can. It's protection, it's extra protection for them, you know? I've done some big galvanized, hot dip galvanized beams and stuff in the past, and man, whew, I tell you what, it's just a challenge to keep it hot long enough to get a coat on it. This will be pretty easy to do. It's not gonna be that bad. I think they'll come out pretty good. So I'm going to finish tuning these up, work on these little nibbies a little bit so he doesn't have problems when he puts the tires on, and then we will come back when we got them hot. And we have, look here, see there? No color. We're ill prepared as it gets. No hose, no color, no, but we'll get that loaded up while these are heating up. So we got time for that. All right, we'll be back when we got the color loaded up and then baby's heated up. Just want to give you an idea of what I was talking about before I sanded or ground on it. Look at that bugger mess. Look at the top. You think a guy's going to get a tire on there without knocking the coating off the end of them buggers? No, he is not. So what we're going to do is we're going to sand them, grind them. Look at that dude. You see him chilling out on the cart? I'm just using a flap wheel. All right, and one thing I'll tell you about grinding on a steel wheel that has galvanizing on it. When you're grinding on the galvanizing, no sparks. When you get to the steel, you get sparks. So the whole idea is just to smooth out them nubbins and just so we don't knock it off. I mean, I can't make it perfectly smooth. And everybody understands that because this is a galvanized wheel. This is what you got to work with. You can only do the best you can with what you got. I can't leave these boogers. It's just, they have to be done something with it. So we're going to tune those up real quick. And this is the second set. All right, I just wanted to come back and show you what these look like after the grinding. See, that's way better. The tire machine's probably not going to grab that. Not only do you got to look for out here, but you got to make sure there's not a bump in it, because you got to remember the foot comes down and over the side a little bit. So you got to worry about this and this. But we got that one, and here's the one that was real ugly. Got them tuned up pretty good. They're pretty smooth. I might have to do a little bit more. Right there, I'm not super happy with that, so we're going to touch that again. Did the inside a little bit. There's a big drool right there where, opposite side of where they hang it. Bleh. But that's galvanizing for you. That's why these wheels are still here, is because this galvanized coating's on there. So don't hate on it. I mean, it's just one of the ways to do it. But that's why we're going to use the coating that we're going to use. And we're going to use a silver artery. And hopefully it helps to hide all the imperfections in it. It should. That's why we're doing it. One of the reasons why we chose that color. Plus, it's a pretty cool color. It's an effects powder. So, all righty, we're going to set these aside, and the other ones are almost hot enough to start spraying. So we're going to get ready to start putting some color on them. All that noise you hear is the inner depth of the hot box, known as the oven. It sounds windy in there. Whoa, I almost took that camera leg out, boy. Woo, or tripod leg was almost out. That would have been bad. Now you can really see different colors, and it kind of changed the color of the bare metal a little darker from being hot. Yep, all right, here we go. We got our gun ready and test fired with silver artery in it. I don't want a whole lot coming out to go around this. First thing you want to do is go around this seam and cut this seam in. I usually do that first with the gun turned down and the lug holes, which these are steel wheels. They don't have deep recessed lug holes. So that's not even a concern on this job, but it's just something to keep in mind when you're doing wheels. All right, we got those in. Now what we're going to do is hop the gun up a little bit, because we're going to be putting it on, and we're going to put it on. We're going to turn our light hat on. Got a light hat on, but didn't turn it on. All right, we're just going to go around here and get a basic coat on it. You don't have to have it heavy. It doesn't have to be dripping off. For those of you that are familiar with silver vein, it doesn't have to vein or change, like they call it. It doesn't have to do that. Just put it on there and cover the metal up while it's hot. That's it. That's all you got to do. Because what we're going to do is we're going to let this cool without putting it in the oven. This is the secret to getting these colors to separate like you want them to. We're going to put it aside without putting it in the oven. And then we are going to recoat it when it cools. And people are like, well, why do you do that? Because a lot of times what happens is if you try to put enough on to make it look even in the separation stage, it moves around too much when you put it in the oven. It makes heavy spots. It moves around. That's kind of what I call it. But it'll build up on edges and it'll do things like that. And this is a very thick textured material, and any buildup is too much. We want it to stay still. Don't do all that moving around, please. So what we do is we put it on hot. So the name of the game is, with a lot of guns, they don't start well. This one does pretty good, depending on the color. So get in the habit of starting out here, it's flowing, and then come into your wheel. If you point it at the wheel and pull the trigger and you get a cough, that's a bad day all of a sudden. On this color, little coughs, it doesn't really matter because you'll see what I mean. Ooh, we're trying to get enough on there for it to do its little separation dance that it does. It does this, it's kind of doing it right over here where I sprayed it. When I get done here putting this coat around the inside of this hoop, I'll grab that camera and show you what I mean by separating. All right, we're looking like we got them sprayed up for the first shot. Yeah, that's all we need. That's all we need. We don't need no much more than that. We're just trying to get a light coat on there. We're gonna let them cool and we're gonna dust them up sort of heavy and hopefully they do their thing. The separating that I'm talking about, where's a good spot? None really. Just look in there. You can see how you got black and silver. That's kind of what it's going to look like when it's done, but it's not a good representation at all of it. It's a lot more bold and a lot bigger of a pattern once it comes out of the oven on the second coat. And you see what I mean by all this globular stuff? There's nothing we can do about that, man. I mean, it's just, they're not that, it's not a show car. It's not a show boat. Well, they're actually, I said earlier that they were boat wheels. They're boat trailer wheels. I was just informed a little while ago that boats don't have wheels. So, and I thought back to the last one I seen that had wheels, and that was like an amphicar or something like that, and they're not very common. So we're just gonna go with boats that don't have wheels. All right, so we're gonna let these cool. I'm gonna push them out there and put the other ones in the oven to preheat, and we're gonna keep going. Try to get these babies done. Now they got the hopper filled up. That's gonna be a lot better for the old powder flow. Oh yeah, there she goes. So we're just gonna go around and put a coat of white on it. I like to take pictures of these when they're all powdered up, and then text them to the customer and say, your white wheels are just about done. And of course they didn't pick white. It's fun. But I don't do that very often because it's a jinx where you'll screw up and do it the wrong color. I don't do that very often. But sometimes it happens. Sometimes it does happen and it is not pretty. Believe it or not, a lot of people look at this as I'm spraying it on, like the powder's coming out of here and sticking on there. No, wrong way to look at it. What this here unit is doing is just fluffing it out there. That ground and the emitter in the end of this gun charging the powder is what's making it go on there. You just fluff it out there and it cruises along and sticks on there. That's how it works. Don't think of it as you're spraying it. You're not a sprayer. You are a fluffer. And that might not be a good thing depending on what industry you're in. And believe it or not, the softer that you can put it out there, the more time it has to do its thing. All right, that's one down. I think we're going to go, maybe go to speed warp here. You guys saw it on that one. You see how, okay, let me show you the difference. That one's white, that one's not. You got it? You're a pro powder coater now. You got it, you're done. Open your own shop, get rich. Well, those two things don't go together, by the way. All you guys out there that own powder coat shops are laughing right now. You're done fell out of the recliner. I know. Trust me. It was a joke. The people that don't run powder coating shops don't get it. But, you know, this is not a get rich quick scheme. I'm just going to tell you. I'm going to work pretty decent all day. It's not hard. I don't want to sit here and try to tell you that it's hard, because it's not. I'm just pulling a trigger, and, you know, the blasting part of it, it's not bad. None of it's not hard, but it's constant. You got to stay at it, and that's just kind of the way it goes. And you're not going to get rich. It's not happening. Very few people get rich in the powder coating world. You can make a good living. I'll tell you that. That's for sure. Rich? Nah. Oh yeah, she's taking a nice coat of clear, boy. And silver vein's a little weird to coat. It's kind of thick and kind of, it's kind of waffly. Well, it is waffly. It's a texture. It's a effects powder. So it is. And I like to try to make sure that I fill it in. And you'll see what I mean when it comes out with clear on it. Because I don't mean to fill in the texture. Don't get me wrong there. You can't put enough on there to do that. I mean, and if you can, we need to talk. I got to figure out how you're doing that. But you just want to get enough to where you can see how you can still see the top. I'm going to bring you all up here in a minute, because you can't see shit from way over there, I'm pretty sure. But the problem is, when I'm doing stuff like this, it's very hard for me to hold the camera and do it. On stuff like this, if I'm spraying something different than this, the thing about it is I'm also used to controlling the hose with this hand. And I have to let the hose hang and swing when I have the camera, and it just, for some reason, it just don't feel right. It feels like I'm going to smack the part with the gun or the hose. All right? That's what you call a coat of clear right there. A pretty good coat, too. All right, so we're going to roll this into the hot box. Just to say, I just want to go over something real quick. Okay, so I heated them up to as hot as I could get them, 425 or so. Brought them out, sprayed them. Didn't put them back in the oven, let them cool. Brought them back in. Readjusted my gun setting. I was spraying at 45 kV when the metal was bare. I went to 30 kV. I dropped my voltage when I had one coat on it. It's just what you do. So I went to 30 kV and doubled it up. Then they went in the oven for 8 minutes, which yielded about 330 degrees. And I like to try to shoot a wheel in the thick part right here. Okay, because that's where the face and the hoop come together. That's where I shoot it with a gun. Pow! Pow! So I want to make sure that I'm pow on the thickest part of it, because out here at the lip, it ain't telling you nothing. So we brought it to, like I said, it was in there 8 minutes, and it got to 330 degrees. Now that's useful information. You say, well, why is that useful information? Because I know that this part went from room temperature to 330 in 8 minutes. The clear bakes at 375. So I'm what do you think, 10 minutes maybe? So I'm going to set a timer for 10 or maybe 11. And when it goes off, I'm going to shoot them with a non-contact infrared thermometer. Sound like I got a mouthful of something. You shoot it with a non-contact infrared thermometer. Why can't I say that? And make sure you verify that it's to temp. That's how you verify the cure. It's important. All right. So we are going to roll these bad boys right by y'all. You're just going to see it leave. It's going now. Sorry, you had long enough to look. You see it? Because in a minute you won't. It's gone. All right. They said they're cold, so I'm gonna heat them up. They said it's, the 100 degrees that it is in here is too cold for them. I'm gonna help them out. What? What did y'all do in here? You made a mess. Huh? And you got it on me too. What's wrong with y'all? You guys gonna come over and clean this up? No, I don't think so. That's how you guys are like the kids. Oh, I want to add one other thing to that too. All right, we're good. All right, I got a different shot going on here. You guys are being punished for not making a mess here and not cleaning it up, so I stuck you on the roof. Pretty cool shot. You can see what's going on up here. This is the second set of wheels. I normally don't show both sets being cleared. I may edit between the two sets just to give you some cool shots. I'm trying to make the videos less boring so people will actually watch them. You know, I mean, powder coating is not, there's no sparks to shoot out your rear end or none of that. There's nothing, you know, there's no glory. No glory. All right. We have our ground hooked up. We got powder in the hopper. We got, okay, so on our clear, we are set at 30 kV and 5 microamps, okay? And that's what we're spraying this at. You got to have your voltage down and your microamps down on the clear, or you'll just have back ionization problems. And then you turn on your light hat and you're ready to rock. And you just sit here relaxing like you're on the beach and just put some dust on it. You hear that compressor come on? Probably barely, because I'm using the voice isolation, and it supposedly cancels out the background noise, because, I mean, I'm sure y'all don't want to listen to that, all that noise in the background, the oven running, the booth, the fan, now the compressor. So I got all this equipment in the background running, and I'm trying to shoot videos, and DaVinci's voice isolation is just, it's outstanding. It does a really good job. Anybody that's not using DaVinci, looking for editing software, should really look into that, because now the free version doesn't do the voice isolation. You have to buy the $300 paid version, but it's a one-time $300 charge. You know what I'm saying? It's not that big of a deal. I like a good, clean audio, because I'm a mumble mouth. And if I don't have clean audio, you're not going to be able to understand what my cracker ass is saying. I mean, that's just all there is to it. Sometimes I'll be editing and I'm like, what did you say right there? Yeah, I have to watch it back, and I said it. And the clear, it really wants to do it, you know. The thing about the clear is you just got to give it the time. And people have the, you know, you want to cram that gun down in there. Don't do it. Don't do it. You got to let the gun do it. At this point, when you got powder already on it, the only time you can cram is when it's a bare part. And you can cram then. I mean, you can force it. You can do things that you cannot do when the part has powder on it and it's cold. It's just the way it is. All right, bottom side again. You can be able to get to see the wrap on the top, which is pretty cool. That's kind of one of the reasons why I wanted to do this shot, is because how do I see that? I'm down here. So I haven't even seen what you guys are seeing. All right, so we got these things all tuned up, ready to go in the oven. The problem is the other wheels are already in there. They've been in there for a little bit, and the fan's on again. I just decided that I was going to do it with the fan. The thermometer over there says it's 102 inside the building. I don't know. I mean, I grew up in Florida, and then I decided I'm going to start a business where I run ovens inside the building. That's a great idea. No, not so much. All right, well, so you got to see it. You got to see some powder put through the holes, and, you know, they turn white right in front of your very eyes. There we go. Good stuff. All right, so that's the second shot of dusting them. This is kind of an experiment too. I'm not sure that the booth doesn't shake too much for you guys not to be going. I started spraying these when that timer had 11 minutes left on it. And I figured, yeah, it'll take 11 minutes to powder coat those wheels, or put a coat of clear on those wheels. Yeah. Old Speedy Gonzales. But guess what? We can use our time to looky-loo, since we have extra time. Now, nobody can complain. I'm looking, but I can't put them in. So what are you going to say to me? What are you gonna say? I get a free look. And they're so tiny that I'm already done. Oh yeah, I'm not hitting nothing. There you go. That's a wrap, folks. We're gonna put these in the oven as soon as that timer beeps. And then when it comes out, we'll do some glamour shots. Show you what they look like. All right, guys, this is a good idea of what they look like. You can see that, oh, where's the valve stem hole? Valve stem hole's here. You see how that stuff just kind of covers up all the funk and gives you a nice finished product? That's what we were looking for. That's what we were looking for. Oh, and by the way, we got our light set up. Let's zoom out so you can see the real deal. Woo! A little behind the scenes at Hot Colors. The timer's going off for the other wheels to come out, so we're gonna go ahead and take those out and call it a day. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. If you have any questions, any better ideas, anything like that, don't hesitate to leave them in the comments. I'm active in the comments. If you say something, I'm gonna talk to you. That's just how it is. All right, you guys take it easy. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.